Karoline Leavitt is with the Trump campaign. She is their spokesperson. She would have a substantial role in any Trump 2024 victory, which we are all rooting for. Karoline, a lot of anger out there, but I actually want to start with something that was super positive to come out of this already. The Trump campaign says they raised $34.8 million in the immediate aftermath of this trial verdict, and 29.7% of those dollars were from entirely new donors. What can you tell us about the unprecedented financial response in favor of Trump, and how have things gone since you guys put out that press release?
Yes, well, that is 100% right. We are already seeing this trial, this conviction, this unprecedented witch hunt backfire on Joe Biden and the corrupt Democrat Party that brought this case against President Trump. We raised, as you just said, $34.8 million in 6 hours from the time the verdict came down to midnight last night. That is how much money we raised from grassroots patriots across this country who have watched this case for 6 weeks and are in shock about what has become of our justice system in this corrupt regime that we are living in right now. This is not a constitutional republic. I hate to break it to your audience. We are living in a regime that is led by people who do not care about our country, do not care about us. All they care about is power and control. And that's what we've seen over the last 6 weeks take place. And we already saw a poll out this morning as well that shows President Trump leading Joe Biden by 6 points already. So we know that this thing will continue to backfire as it has over the last 6 weeks.
Karoline, you have at least between now and July 11th, I would assume, for President Trump to be pretty free out on the campaign. Can you give us a sense, just a preview of, now that he doesn't have to show up in this courthouse every day, what are the plans like, and what's some of the strategy going forward?
Well, we're going to get back on the campaign trail. We already are. We are going to continue to hold rallies. We're going to continue to hold events. We are going to continue to fundraise. That you'll see President Trump out there as he has been. And, you know, this trial at the beginning, everyone thought, oh, it's going to slow him down. And sure, yeah, I mean, we were confined into a dirty, disgusting courtroom for more than 8 hours a day, 4 days a week. It sucked. I'm not going to lie, okay? But guess what? President Trump made the most of it, and he continued to get out there and fight. And we held rallies in the Bronx with 25,000 people, a rally in Wildwood, New Jersey, record-breaking 100,000-person crowd. President Trump, you know, going to bodegas in Harlem, visiting construction workers in Midtown, still doing rallies in Pennsylvania and elsewhere, making the most of the cards he's been dealt. And he's going to continue to do that. And we'll see him. You will see him back on the campaign trail very, very soon.
Karoline, what can you tell us? We've had Trump on the program quite a lot over the years, but one thing that continues to stagger both Buck and me is the amount of energy that he has. And really, I mean, he's 77, having people throw body blows at him every single day, and he seems just to never tire. What is it like for you? I think you're, 26 years old? By the way, congrats. I know you are pregnant. So I imagine that you've got a little bit on your shoulders as well, in addition to being in the middle of the campaign. But what can you tell us about the energy and the will that you see from this guy to be taking the punches that he does and the severity of those punches and still go out and fight every day?
It is incredibly inspiring to witness President Trump's resolve and his determination and his tenacity in the face of unprecedented attacks. No person, arguably in American history, has been attacked and smeared and lied about and investigated more than Donald Trump, yet he continues to get up every single day and fight. And, you know, yesterday when the conviction came down, we all had to sit there, he himself included, hear the word guilty 34 times in a row from a jury who we knew was not going to be fair, over with a judge sitting in that courtroom smirking, who we know is highly conflicted and crooked and partisan, with a case that was brought by a Democrat prosecutor who hates Donald Trump and has made that very clear. This thing was rigged from the beginning, and he had to sit there and hear guilty 34 times in a row. And we walked out of that courtroom in disgust, We were angry. We were somber, and we turned to him, and he looked at us and said, I'm going to go to the cameras, and we're going to continue to fight. And he drove that message. And within minutes of hearing that, that's what he did. He addressed the American people and said, I am doing this for our Constitution and our country. Anyone else facing what Donald Trump has would fold like a deck of cards. But he gets up and he fights again. And it's because he knows he has the truth on his side, and he knows that he is the man for the job right now who can fix this country and all of the crises that Joe Biden has created. I mean, not only are we witnessing the abuse of our legal system, we have a wide open border allowing terrorists and criminals into our country. Our economy is in shambles, record high inflation, the worst inflation crisis in a generation. Hardworking Americans can hardly afford to live, and this is what Crooked Joe and the Democrats are focused on. It's disgusting. But it fires President Trump up to fight. And I'm honored to work for him and call him my boss. And in your audience, every single person listening to this right now should be honored that they have someone in this country who loves them enough and loves this country enough to go through this. And we need everyone's support. This guy can't do it alone. And we need people to continue to donate on our website. We need people to sign up to volunteer. I mean, he says it all the time, and it's true. November the 5th is the most important election in our lifetimes. And if we don't win, America, as we know her and we love her, will cease to exist. And that is a sad thing to say, but it's true.
Speaking to Karoline Leavitt, National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. Caroline, to that end, what you just said, you're 26 years old. You're among the most visible people in this Trump campaign. How do you approach now the realization that you're not just trying to win a presidential contest, which is quite an undertaking in and of itself, but you, your team, President Trump, are really trying to preserve the country that we live in?
Mm-hmm. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that we have to win. And we have a fearless leader in President Trump who, like I said, calls the shots, and we are here to execute his mission. And as his spokesperson, it's my job to go out there and message effectively the message that he wants to say. And you know what? It's easy to do when you have a boss and a leader who is so fearless, and again, who has the truth on his side and who has the best record to stand on. I mean, look at what President Trump accomplished in his first term in office. We had a secure border. Our economy was booming. The world feared us and respected us. He was the first president ever to not get us into any new wars. And you look at the contrast in Joe Biden's America, our border, again, is wide open, economy in shambles. We're on the brink of World War III. I mean, even with all of this, I would rather be President Trump's spokesperson than Joe Biden's any day of the week, every day for the rest of my life, because President Trump has a record and he has a vision for this country. He has integrity. He has conviction. Joe Biden is crooked and corrupt, and he's a liar, and he is the weakest and most incompetent president this country has ever seen.
Karoline, what'd you think of Robert De Niro?
Well, that was something. I'll tell you. We actually got tipped off by a nice, friendly source outside the courthouse that the Biden campaign was going to be hosting that press conference. So myself and my colleagues, we headed outside to punch back, of course, in true President Trump fashion. And they were teasing a special guest. We didn't know who it was going to be. All of a sudden, we see sloppy De Niro shuffling out of his car with a
sorry,
mask
just
on.
For you, though, you're 26. When you see Robert De Niro, Buck and I were talking about this. Like, if Leonardo DiCaprio rolled up, Buck and I around the same age would be like, okay, that guy's a badass. Like, at least he's the best actor right now, maybe.
I wouldn't call him a badass. I would just say he's famous, but yes.
Oh, I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a badass. Even though I think he's crazy on some political issues, in his profession, he's a badass. But Caroline, you're 26. What, Robert De Niro's 80. Like, did you think it was kind of like they hadn't done a press conference and then they finally decided to do one? Did you feel like it was kind of, it felt fake to me that they would decide that Robert De Niro was their leader?
Well, that's what I mean. It was mind-boggling to see him. He came out of the car with a mask on. We're all like, "Is that Robert De Niro? What the heck are these people doing? And then he goes on an unhinged tirade about Donald Trump, and you could see in the Biden staffers' faces, by the way, that immediately as De Niro started spiraling out of control, they knew it was a bad idea. I mean, the whole thing just looked JV. It was disastrous. He was like going after our supporters, pointing his finger in their faces.
Is there any chance in your mind, Karoline, that like could that have happened without Joe Biden knowing about it at all, meaning the approval of De Niro as their spokesman? Would that just be somebody on the campaign? Or do you think that Biden was like, yeah, that'll be the ticket?
Well, look, who knows? I mean, was Biden awake early enough to approve that? I'm not sure. But certainly it came, his campaign knows what they're doing. And they had said this entire trial, it's not political. We have nothing to do with it. Their press conference with Robert De Niro was a concession that they have everything to do with this trial in this case that has been brought forward.
Karoline, fantastic stuff as always. We will talk to you again soon. Do you know boy or girl yet, by the way, on the baby, and what's the delivery date?
Yes, I am. I'm having a boy, firstborn son, very excited about it, and we'll be having him in a few weeks. I'm like 6 weeks out from my due date, and I don't know how I'm doing this. Don't know how I'm doing this all, but we're fighting through. Like you said, we're fighting for the country, and I'm very excited to boy. God knows we need more strong men in this country, and I look forward to raising one.
That is awesome. Congratulations on the baby. I can't believe that you are fighting this hard 6 weeks out from the due date. That could be, by the way, right around July 4th, right? You could have a July 4th birthday.
I could, and it would be very on brand for me to have my baby on 4th of July. Let's see.
Amen. Good luck. Thank you, Karoline.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.
For sure. Look, I want to tell you all about a trip that we've got planned. Buck has been to Israel. I'm going to go to Israel. We're in the process of planning it out. And honestly, I can't wait for the opportunity to go there, but also to help this advertiser do so much more important work. And let me tell you all about it. Israeli citizens, you guys know, they have to be a resilient group. They have homes and apartments with immediate access to bomb shelters because terrorists are trying to kill them all the time. We can't imagine a world like that in the United States because, at least so far, we don't have to deal with that kind of danger. But Jewish people do. And there are a lot of people out there working as tirelessly as they can with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, the IFCJ. They help provide emergency bomb shelter kits that can be delivered immediately to Israeli residents during crisis. Your donation today to the IFCJ will help place the kits with enough food and emergency supplies for 20 people huddled in a bomb shelter. The cost to put together these kits, just under $300 each, thanks to a matching challenge gift from a generous IFCJ supporter. Your gift will double in impact. The number to call to make your gift, 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ. You can also go online to support ifcj.org to give. One word, support ifcj.org.